I didn't mean for any of it. I
Hey,
swear I
hey,
didn't.
that's enough. This isn't helping. She has to tell the truth.
I am telling it, please.
Why is she on the floor? The question tore out of Marcus before he could stop it. His mother's trembling hands, the shards of a broken bowl around her, none of it made sense. And Emma, standing above her, didn't look shocked. Just annoyed, as if he were the one interrupting something she'd rather keep hidden. His pulse thundered in his ears. Nothing about this scene felt accidental. Nothing felt safe. He hadn't planned to come home early. But now he wished he'd come sooner, before the quiet cruelty had taken root. This is the story of the day. His home revealed its darkest truth. He always thought of home as the one place untouched by judgment. For Marcus, a quiet, thoughtful man in his early 30s, life had finally begun to feel steady again. After years of demanding shifts at the shipping yard and saving every dollar he could, he had built a peaceful routine, a modest home, a loving marriage, and a fragile sense of stability he never took for granted. His mother, Lorraine, had always told him that peace was earned, not given. And now, as she grew older and needed a little more help, Marcus took pride in offering her the support she had once given him 100 times over. Most mornings began the same. The aroma of fresh coffee, the hum of distant traffic, and the quiet contentment of knowing he was providing for the two women who meant the most to him. His wife, Emma, was meticulous and organized, always smoothing the edges of their life so she could manage it. His mother, on the other hand, brought warmth, her soft laugh filling the rooms, her stories spilling into every corner of the house like sunlight. To Marcus, that balance was everything. But beneath Emma's polite smiles and carefully measured words, something had shifted, subtly, almost imperceptibly. There were minor annoyances she didn't voice, lingering glances she didn't explain. Moments of tension Marcus brushed off as stress or exhaustion. He didn't want to imagine anything darker, hiding beneath the surface. Still, there were signs, the sudden quiet when he entered a room. The way Lorraine's warmth dimmed on certain days, as though she was swallowing words she didn't want him to hear. The overly tidy kitchen, as if someone had scrubbed away something more than a mess. Marcus told himself not to overthink it. Life was good. Everything was fine. But somewhere in the stillness of that home, behind closed doors and polite exchanges, something uncomfortable was beginning to take shape. Something he hadn't yet witnessed. Something he wasn't prepared in for it, and all it would take was one unexpected moment, one early return home, to reveal the truth he never imagined he'd have to face. Marcus didn't usually come home in the middle of the day. His shifts were long, predictable, and rarely interrupted. But that afternoon, when a power outage shut down half the shipping yard, he decided to use the unexpected break to check on the two women waiting at home. One who had promised forever, and one who had given him life. As he drove, he replayed the week's small moments in his mind, the hesitations in his mother's voice, the way Emma had tightened her jaw when Lorraine asked simple questions. This faint tension clung to the air like humidity before a storm. He told himself he was imagining it. Stress did strange things to people. Maybe everyone was just tired. Still, he pressed on the gas a little more than usual. When he pulled into the driveway, he noticed Emma's car was slightly crooked, as if she had rushed inside. The curtains were partly closed, casting the living room in uneven shadows. Nothing wrong. Nothing alarming. Yet something about it made his stomach twist. He walked up the steps quietly, no particular reason, just instinct. Before he reached the door, he heard a sound. A sharp, clipped tone, Emma's voice, but there was no warmth in it. As he slowed, he realized she was talking to someone. Not in conversation, more like delivering orders, or something harsher. He stepped closer. Then he heard his mother's voice, small, apologetic, strained in a way he had never heard before. Lorraine was not a woman who apologized for existing. She carried the kind of dignity carved by decades of surviving what others didn't see. To hear her voice tremble was like hearing a pillar crack. His heartbeat quickened. He pressed his ear gently to the door, hesitating just enough to absorb what he was hearing. Emma's tone sliced through the stillness like a blade. There were no slurs, nothing overt, nothing that could be easily quoted or defended. But the coolness of her words, the way she spoke to Lorraine as though she were inconveniencing the air itself, carried the unmistakable weight of something ugly. Something that had no place in the home Marcus had built. He tried to make sense of it. It could be a misunderstanding. Perhaps he didn't hear what he thought he did. Maybe, but then he heard the thud. A chair is being slid aggressively. A pot slammed harder than necessary. And Lorraine's soft gasp. The kind he remembered from childhood when she hid her hurt to keep him from worrying. Marcus stepped back from the door, his chest tightening, his vision tunneling as a rush of confusion flooded him. Emma had never acted like this around him. Never slipped. Never hinted at resentment so sharp it cut the air. What was she hiding when he wasn't home? What had his mother been enduring in silence? He reached for the doorknob, but something in him froze. Should he barge in? Should he listen longer? Did he want to know everything, or was the truth too heavy to face? He hovered there in a suspended moment, breath shallow, heart racing. Inside the house, another muffled sound echoed, something that made every muscle in his body clench. He had thought he was coming home, early to surprise them. But what he was about to witness would change everything he believed about love, loyalty, in the home he thought he knew. The moment he stepped inside, the air felt wrong, thick, heavy, charged with something he could almost taste. The living room was spotless, almost unnaturally so. Still, his mother stood near the kitchen doorway, her hands tightly clasped in front of her as if trying to hold herself together. Her eyes lifted when she saw him, wide with a mix of surprise and a quiet plea he had never seen from her. Emma froze. She had been standing over a pile of laundry, but the expression on her face didn't match the task. Sharp, irritated, caught in the middle of something she could no longer hide. The tension between them was so thick it felt like a physical wall. Then Marcus saw it, a ceramic bowl, shattered on the floor, pieces scattered like evidence of a truth too raw to deny. And beside it, a cleaning rag tossed carelessly toward his mother, damp and stained with something that should have never been her responsibility. His mother's voice broke the silence, not with words, but with a slight, involuntary flinch when Emma stepped toward her. The kind of reflex born from fear, not surprise. That was the moment everything inside Marcus snapped. He didn't shout. He didn't move at first. He simply stared at the scene, the shattered pieces, the exhaustion hiding behind his mother's eyes, the coldness on his wife's face, and something inside him shattered too. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't stress. This was cruelty, quiet but deliberate. And it had been happening under his roof. As the truth settled like a stone in his chest, he took one step forward, toward the woman he loved, toward the mother who raised him, toward the breaking point he could no longer ignore. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. In the days that followed, the quiet in Marcus's home felt different. No longer the peaceful calm he once cherished, but a space heavy with truth finally exposed. He made arrangements for his mother to stay with him in the spare room, refusing to let her return to the uneasy silence she had endured. Lorraine didn't speak much about what had happened. Still, the relief in her shoulders, the return of her gentle hum while folding clothes, told him everything he needed to know. Emma tried to explain herself at first, stress, misunderstandings, long days, but her words felt thin, flimsy against the weight of what he had seen with his own eyes. Racism didn't always roar. Sometimes it whispered, chipped away at dignity, hid behind politeness. But its impact was no less devastating. And now that he had witnessed it, he couldn't unsee it. Their marriage didn't survive the truth. Some things once revealed cannot be rebuilt. Marcus learned that love cannot excuse cruelty, and silence only protects the wrong side of history. In letting go, he chose to protect the woman who had protected him his entire life. But the more profound impact stretched beyond his home. Because racism like this, quiet, private, disguised as impatience, lives in countless homes, unnoticed until someone returns early enough to hear the cracks beneath the surface. Marcus realized his story wasn't unique. It reflected a larger wound that communities continue to carry, and so the question remains, how many stories like his go unseen every single day? Thank you for watching. Share this story, reflect on it, and subscribe for more powerful narratives that matter.